Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shutter, a Monday night edition, and have the pleasure of welcoming local photographer CJ Burnell to the program. So thanks, man, for jumping on this thing.
No problem.
Yeah, bro. We were just chatting offline about a whole bunch of stuff, and not sure where you want to kick off, but we are just talking about focusing on one thing and how it's like, it's not sometimes the way to go. Sometimes you want to keep an open mind, right, with regards to what you shoot. So
Yeah,
I think that's where to be.
I think that's the thing is variety is spice of life, they say.
Yeah.
So I try different things. I think that once in a while I find a new challenge by changing what I'm shooting, and then trying to go after that for a while, and you
Yeah.
know just sometimes I challenge myself just to pick up one lens, and when I'm out,
Right.
rather than taking the bag with me, just take one lens and shoot with that, because it forces you to look at perspective and different angles and
Yeah, I like that.
how you
I like
approach
that.
it. Yeah, so
That's a good tip. It's not as,
yeah,
it can be so simple sometimes.
yeah, and sometimes I think I fall into this trap all too often. Is my favorite lens is obviously my 70 to 300 is my
Right.
go-to, and I think with a zoom lens, uh, you just stand still because you can move the frame and you don't have to move. So you get lazy.
Yeah.
Whereas, you take a 24 fixed prime, or, even a 50 mil. And it forces you to get closer to stuff, forces you to change up the angles,
Right.
see different lighting, see different,
Yeah. Yeah.
perspectives of the same thing. And you
Yeah.
might not even notice it. I mean, it's really crazy. And even like I'll take a 10 to 20, like an ultra wide angle lens,
Right.
and go shoot something that I've shot 70 to 300 with,
Yeah, no,
and
exactly.
see what
Exactly,
goes
man.
on there, right? So
You just never know. You just never know sometimes, you know. So like so
yeah,
like how
uh,
long how long
I
you how
mean
long you been shooting for?
uh a long time.
Yeah, a long time, man.
Most of my life, really. I mean, I picked up cameras as a kid,
Right.
just point and shoot because I'm way too old.
Okay.
But picked up point and shoot cameras when I was a kid. Played with those. What was the film back then? It was a 110. I think you
Mm.
popped in a like a rectangular camera, and just popped off shots
The good old
wherever.
days. The good old
Yeah,
days.
and then I mean, a buddy of mine, he had a Konica camera. I
Yeah.
can't even remember what body it was now, but a film camera. And I was looking to go to the SLR side of things. And so he offered me, at the time, he offered me to take his camera off his hands. And I'm a bit of a sports buff, so I was collecting hockey cards, baseball cards, that sort of stuff. So I traded him the cost of the camera in baseball stuff.
Oh, really?
So
Interesting.
that's how I actually bought my first
Like
camera,
a
film.
barter system. You use the
Yeah,
barter
almost.
system.
Yeah, yeah. So I did a bit of that, and then of
Wow.
course the digital age came about, and I was like all
Yeah.
about that.
Okay.
So I can remember my first digital camera was a Kodak 1.3 megapixel camera.
Nice. 1 point
Yeah. So
1.3, eh?
yeah, somewhere in the closet I have that thing. So
That thing,
um,
it might be worth a few bucks, that thing. You never know. 3
if not,
megapixel?
it's a pretty good paperweight now. But yeah, I had a Kodak 1.3. Then I went to the
Yeah.
Kodak 3.1, and
Jeez.
then I jumped to the Canon XSI. And
Yeah.
when I was going to the Canon XSI, my wife said to me, "Well, why don't you go take some lessons?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I know how to work a camera." So she said, "Yeah, why don't you go do that?" And I'm like,
Right.
"Why?" And So
Okay.
I looked up a night school course at Humber College,
Yeah.
and actually ended up there doing a photographic certificate at a
What is
on
that? What is that exactly?
so it's basically a focus on digital photography, and then like any diploma or certificate course, you take a plethora of different courses, lighting courses.
Hmm.
There was a course that was wedding specific. Uh,
Yeah.
it taught you sort of different approaches to wedding photography, and
Interesting.
yeah, and then
Was
lighting was really good. They taught you that, and there was some Photoshop and Lightroom classes.
Mhm.
So it was really interesting. I did it back in 2010, 11,
Yeah.
and it was really intimidating at the time because, of course, I entered the course with a Canon XSI, which is basically entry level camera,
Right.
and then I remember phoning the coordinator at the time and saying to him, I said, like, is an XSI a good enough camera? And he said, he said it to me. He put it in good perspective for me. He said to me, have you ever been to a wedding and there's that one guy in the corner of the room and has the top notch camera? It's like 15 grand worth of photographic equipment.
Hmm.
And I said, yeah, I've been to a couple of those weddings. And he's like, have you ever noticed he doesn't know how to operate it? And I'm like, what are you saying? And he's like, it doesn't matter the tool. It's really
Yeah.
the photographer, because I mean,
Yeah.
and it's so true. Like there's photographers that don't know the first thing about a camera, but they have an $8,000 camera.
Hmm.
And then there's, you know, guys that just go out with a phone camera and create some really great stuff. So I mean, I agree. There is some truth to uh, how much um, how much the tool helps you, right? I mean, you get to a
Yeah.
certain point, you need low light and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's important to have the right tools, but obviously, I mean, you've got to know what you're doing with those tools as well.
What a great teacher. What a great prof.
So yeah,
Super
so
cool.
yeah, and then like I said, I got enrolled in that program, and you bounce around from class to class for a year and a half. But the thing I think I came out with most, the Paul, is the fact that I have 20 or 30 friends of mine now
Right.
from those courses
Cool.
that, you know, I can go bounce a photo off of. And that was the other nice thing about these courses, was a lot of it was um, our peers looking at our photography and critiquing it.
Right.
And I think the thing is those 20 to 30 people really get to know your style, the way you shoot.
Mm.
And then when they look at it and critique it, they're critiquing it almost through your eyes, because they know what you shoot
Mm.
and what you
Right.
do best. And so yeah, so I really value some of those guys.
Nice.
And you know, every once in a while I get out with them and I shoot with them, and it's good times. But yeah, so
That's what it's all about, right? Just meeting people and learning together. I think it makes it more fun versus just kind of like sitting by yourself sometimes. You meet people
yeah,
and you form friendships, and that's what's cool about it, right?
yeah. It's like, that's the thing, is that, you know, you go out and I mean, I describe a photographic experience like a Christmas present.
Mm.
Yes, it's great. It's great if you're the only one that has that present.
Right.
But isn't it so much cooler if you could share it with somebody? And, you know, for example, a train. If you get that train under the Christmas tree, it's fun and dandy, and it
Love
goes
that
around the
train.
tree 1,000
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
but then you get bored of it. But then if your buddy comes over and you start playing with the train
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
it's sort of like photography for me. I like, I enjoy just talking about photography. And I think the passion just comes out in me once I start rolling. So,
Yeah, it becomes more of like like a shared experience,
yeah.
you
And
know?
I mean, you bounce ideas off each other. Like I was
Mm,
talking about those 20 or 30 people. We all shoot different ways. Like we could show up to the same event and shoot it 20 or 30 different ways.
right.
And that's what's cool is they can teach you something, you can teach them something,
Yeah, it never
and you
ends.
come out of it learning. So it's pretty cool that way. So
Yeah, I think sometimes, I'll just speak from personal experience. Like sometimes I get stuck in my own head and I get like very like tunnel vision. I don't see like other options that I could look at. I just, okay, this is the way I've always done it and I'll just keep doing it this way. But once you meet people that show you a different way, then it kind of opens you up. Like we were just talking offline about keeping like an open mind. Like if you have an open
yeah,
mind to stuff, you can see things in a
yeah,
totally different light. It might just blow your mind sometimes, right?
yeah.
You
It's
know?
it's like that's the thing, and it challenges you, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't, if you're
Yeah.
being challenged, you can't get bored.
No, exactly.
And that's the thing is like if you continually, like we said off camera, if you continually shoot the same thing over and over again, you're going to become a perfectionist at it, and it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
But then you're going to become bored at some point, and you're going to need something else to shoot. So I find myself, like I said, I will shoot something to the point of boredom, and then I'll go find something else to shoot
Mm.
because I don't want to just sit there for the sakes of likes and views and followers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
mean, it's always great to have 10,000 followers and
sure.
10,000 likes, but I mean, at the end of the day, you have to derive some enjoyment out of it, or it's not worth doing.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's why a lot of people quit.
Yeah,
It could be
yeah,
any kind, it doesn't have to be photography. It could be any kind of like artistic endeavor. But if
anything.
you're doing it
Yeah,
for like the validation of it,
yeah,
then it's not gonna go well typically.
yeah.
Right.
It's yeah. You're gonna give up on it, because that's the thing. If you look for others to validate you, it's not going to work. Quite
Yeah.
often people will ask me, well, what photographers inspire you
Mm,
to,
mm,
and I really find it hard because I don't like to follow other photographers. I
interesting.
like to create my own stuff, right?
Interesting.
Because then you intuitively you will become that photographer, you know
Mm,
you will follow their style, you will start looking at it their way.
interesting.
So yeah, I go against the grain there, and I sort of do my own thing, and I mean, I'm happy doing that. Like, it's like, one day I'll be shooting a caterpillar on the ground, and the next day I'm shooting the skyline with a sunrise
Yeah.
alignment.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
all over the place. I mean, it's like I told you, I want to be a well-rounded photographer. I don't want to be just
Yeah.
one dimensional. So
Yeah. Interesting. No, I think that's a good way to be though, because in the end, it just keeps it fun. I think sometimes we lose sight
yeah,
of it. Oh, like this is just for like I just want to have some fun.
yeah,
It's like, wait,
and,
what?
yeah, and I think I honestly I think sometimes I will rub people the wrong way because for me,
Yeah,
even though I want to, I put myself amongst people that typically I think do good photography.
sure.
And to me, the thing is for me that I've done the photography end of it so long that I'm pretty sure I'm at wherever I show up, I'm going to get a shot I like.
Yeah,
But then what is it beyond that shot that I like? It's the fact that now I'm committed from my buddies, my friends, my peers, and we're learning off of each other, and we're having a good time, and we're sharing some laughs.
yeah,
Eddie ran a for the solar eclipse. He ran the meetup down in Cayuga.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I want to go, blah, blah, blah. And then I gave Eddie a call, and Eddie's like, why don't you come? And I'm like, yeah, you know what, I will. So I ended up down there with those guys, and there was like 15 or 20 of us, and we just had a party. Like it was
Exactly.
not, to the point that I almost forgot to take photos of the eclipse. But thankfully it's on a tripod, and you just have to fire off a bunch of shots. But it's more. I guess the more I do it, it's more about the experience and less about the photos. Although the photos are important, the experience of just, sometimes you become, I think you said it, tunnel visioned. If you go, you spend so much of your focus trying to get that shot. And there's some worth to that. But if you get that shot, but you don't experience anything, is it as good as maybe getting a shot and having a great time? Of course. So, I mean, there you go.
There you go.
so yeah,
Jeez, man.
But it was fun. I mean, it was a total riot.
Aren't you glad you went?
I forgot I even did that.
You forgot you even did that. That's hilarious.
But like the comments and the laughs that we were having when it was going totally black.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know there's guys that chase this thing around the world, and they have far more money than I do.
Yeah.
But this, for the guy that doesn't travel, is probably a once in a lifetime experience. And to be able to share it with the group that I shared it with, it was awesome. There was an Asian guy with us that I thought was part of our group, and he had set up a tripod with a GoPro on it.
Nice.
And then, the funny thing was, Kurt Wang was there, and Eddie was there as well, flashy shortstop, and he had left. The guy had left his GoPro in the middle of the field.
Oh, really?
And left.
Oh.
So I said to Eddie, and I said to Kurt, I said, I'll take it, and I'll go find the guy. Like I'll call him, because if he's in our group, I'll find him.
Yeah.
So I phoned around, and I thought he was originally in our group. No, not in our group. Okay. So then I'm like, what am I going to do? And Lynn suggested that I phone the venue, Cayuga Motorsports, because if this guy's looking for his GoPro, so the next day I called them, and they're like, I said, I found a camera, and she's like, it's not a GoPro, is it? And I'm like, yeah, how'd you know? And she's like, the guy's been phoning all day.
Man.
And I'm like, no way. And I'm like, so I gave her my contact information, and she forwarded it to him. And then about 5-10 minutes later, gave me a call, and I'm like, hey man, what's up? And he's like, I hear you got my GoPro. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't know that you weren't part of our group. And he's like, no problem. I appreciate the fact that you took it and you're taking care of it and trying to find me. And I'm like, so dude, we can meet up. Like, he's like, well, where are you? And I said, the west end of Toronto. Yeah. And he said, oh, I'm in Kitchener.
Oh, nice.
And I said, that's right around the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we made arrangements that he came down to Sherway Gardens, and we met up. And I gave him back the GoPro. Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, that's the community I want to be with, that take care of each other, and we meet up. And, it wasn't even about me necessarily getting the GoPro. It was me getting it back to him, because I wanted him to have a memory of what he had shot.
Yeah.
So it's I'm glad that it had a happy ending to the story, because
Yeah.
yeah, like I would have been heartbroken if it was my GoPro I
Oh
left out in the
man.
field. So
Oh man. Especially with the footage.
yeah, well,
Man.
once in a lifetime footage too,
Like,
right?
yeah, it's like
So
what?
yeah, so he
Uh,
was appreciative. Like I said, he's an Asian guy, and he had come to Canada not too long ago. So he actually, as a thank you, he brought me a dozen beer, Chinese beer.
nice.
So he gave them to me. I don't drink, but they're sitting in my office.
Yeah. I'll be right over.
So
I'll be right over, CJ.
yeah, you and 11 other guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, I'll be right
So,
over.
but so we, it was great. And then I said to him, I said, you got to meet up with us sometime and shoot with us. So that hasn't happened yet, but hopefully
Yeah,
it will happen.
sure it
So,
will. Yeah.
but
Man, stand-up guy. There you go.
well,
That's what it's about, right? Hello? Hello? Oh, we lost you. We'll be right back. Testing 1, 2, 3. We're back.
are we back? Are we
I
back?
think I think we're back from commercial break.
Sorry, that was overheat. That was on my bad.
That's okay.
The
That's okay.
laptop obviously didn't like the table so
You're
much.
on fire, man. You're on
So
fire.
yeah,
You're on
exactly.
fire. You're on fire. Talking about the total eclipse. You're on fire, man.
Got burnt, man.
You got burnt with that stuff. I love. No, we're talking about like stand-up guy, like just helping people out. So I like that. Again, it becomes like a shared experience. Like it's not even about the photos; it's about like that day and
Yeah, right.
who you're with.
And because of that experience, like I'm never gonna forget that day, right? But I
Sorry.
mean, it's yeah. So even that group shot, I was like,
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
we gotta get a record of these people. So
Mandatory, mandatory. No, it's. I mean, Toronto's like a very like it's a very saturated city for like meetup culture.
oh
Like
yeah,
you go other cities and there's not really a meetup culture, but in Toronto there's like a
yeah.
heavy like
Well, you
meetup
know what I find
culture.
funny too
Yeah,
is like we joke all the time because
yeah.
especially with the CN Tower alignments,
Right. Yeah.
you all end up at the same spot whether you were meeting up there or not.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
So like we're always teasing each other. Did you set up this meetup, or did I, or did you, or did I, or you know?
You just
So
showed up. Just showed
yeah,
up, man.
but it's yeah, it's there he is. There's the guy right there.
GoPro guy.
So yeah, the GoPro guy. So
The GoPro update.
that's sure way when we got
That's
back
hilarious.
together.
He's so happy
So
that he got it
oh yeah, yeah,
cause
he's
man.
yeah, it's it was so funny. It was so good. But
Oh,
such a solid dude too. I want to meet up with him again that
all right. Well,
and shoot. So we're gonna get a hold of him.
love
But
it. I love it. Um, yeah, man.
yeah, so
And
you
so,
can see like that's what I'm saying is like
yeah,
if you scroll through this, you see like I shoot all kinds of different things
yeah, yeah,
because it's
exactly.
you know, but it's you know, I shoot with different cameras. So I shoot with a GoPro, I shoot with a drone, I shoot with
Right, right,
a Canon. So I mean, yeah,
right.
it's really interesting. But
Interesting, man. How do you like get your ideas?
you know what? Like I'll go to a place, and if I'm not feeling it, I'll move. If I am feeling it, then I'll stay for a
Oh,
bit. You know, but I mean, I yeah, it's really weird. And then, you know, it's always a quest for something different.
hmm.
Even with the sunrises, sunsets, I always want to try and go somewhere different. Which I mean, like I was explaining to you off camera, the summer trailer, like going up to Lindsay, we've been doing that since I was a kid, like 14.
Yeah.
And you know, you can only imagine that, like, even though it's so vast, like you end up in the same place over and over again because you just know that's the place to be. But now it's like I want to go somewhere different. I want to challenge myself
Where do you want to
again.
go? Where do you want to go?
Well, exactly. So it's like go down
Where?
this back road or that back road.
Mm,
Actually, Paul, if you scroll up a bit, I think
sure.
there's near closer to the top.
All right.
Um, let's see if I did one. No, I haven't posted it yet.
Oh, oh,
So new post coming.
new post coming. This is
Um, so
you heard it here first.
so so I went out Friday night,
Yeah.
and there was this like there's this up near Brecken, Ontario, which is probably what's the best way to explain it? It's probably about an hour north of Newmarket area.
Mm.
So it's sort of in between the trailer and Newmarket, and I knew this bridge because I had passed this bridge, and I'm like, I want to shoot that bridge at sunset, and I had never done it, so I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I ended up out there, and I got this most gorgeous reflection,
Nice.
and it was just it was really beautiful.
Nice.
So a new one to the collection, right?
Okay. All right.
So you'll have to stay tuned for that one.
Well,
But
you heard it here first, kids. You heard it here first.
teaser alert.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, so typically what I'll do is I'll shoot a time lapse with the GoPro, and then you know I'll do my typical stills with the RP,
Hmm.
the Canon RP, and
Yeah.
then every once in a while I'll break the drone out and go for a fly around and
Yeah.
see what I see, because that's the thing, right? That's best. Basically, for me, that's the essence of capturing the location is, being able to see it from different locations, different vantage points.
100%.
And for the longest time, I was really against drones.
Yeah.
Just
How come?
because I think it was just I was scared of being lumped in with the ones that break rules. And you know,
Got it.
but I have a lot of aviation friends.
Okay.
Because I do a lot of aviation photography.
Nice.
And yeah, so I didn't want to get lumped in with them
Yeah.
for breaking all those rules, because I know there's a bunch of people that shoot at Polson Pier,
Oh yeah, all the time.
you know, yeah,
All
with
the time.
drones, yeah, right on the flight path,
But can't
right.
but can't like but like can't like the Canada Transportation like nail them if they see it on Instagram? Like, hey, what are you doing?
Well, see, I've always asked the same question: is
Yeah.
why can't you nail them?
Yeah. Like,
And the answer resoundingly for me is that they either don't care or don't have the resources to go after everybody, right?
because there's so many.
Yeah. So
Ah. But like they're
it's
flying over like the Sky Dome when there's a Blue Jays game going on.
well, you
Crazy.
know, but I understand it. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
quest to get the shot, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the digital age has pushed the bar so much, is that if you're not the first to do it or the most original to do it,
Mm.
you just get lumped in with everybody else, right? I mean, it's I remember there's an iconic shot
Yeah.
a wedding photographer did, and she pulled a couch, a velour couch,
Yeah.
out into young Dundas Square, and she had the bride and groom sit on it. And I hear you Googling it right
I'm
now.
Googling right now.
And it was amazing shot, right?
I got it.
Because did you get it?
Yeah.
So it was like, to me, that's like, if you can do that, like be the first to do something or most original, yeah. And I mean the lighting isn't the greatest because it's backlit,
Oh, God.
but I mean, from a creative standpoint, like, she had to get a bride and groom there, she had to
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
couch there.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
it's an iconic shot of Dundas Square at the time. I don't know what they're calling it now.
Yes,
Sokofa.
Sanoki Square
Yeah,
or something.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, so stuff like that, that stuff inspires me, because somebody just pushed the envelope there, and on top of that, like, had 20 or 30 seconds, the length of a light, to go do it. And
Yeah,
it
exactly.
works. So,
Interesting.
but yeah,
It's
so
different. It's different. I get it. It's
yeah, yeah.
different.
So it's so I mean, I understand the breaking of rules, but I mean, as long as you're not I guess breaking them to the point of hurting somebody, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always
Yeah.
this pressure, it seems, to like always get like a banger shot. Like there's always this pressure or this like need to get something totally epic. And
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't happen. That's just life.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing is too, is that I mean, it's so easy to not replicate a photo identically, but it's so easy to go back to the same location and shoot the same shot. From a
Yeah.
skyline point of view,
Sure.
if it's a clear sky, I mean, I can put a drone up, you can put a drone up, we're gonna
Yeah.
pretty much get the same shot.
Yeah.
So even if you do it first, then it becomes watered down with so many people doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I guess that's where I want to differentiate myself, is that I shoot a lot of things. I don't just shoot one thing. So
Yeah, you don't want to you don't want to be known for one thing. Like when someone
yeah,
asks what is CJ shoot, it was like, well, shoots everything, kind of.
yeah. And I mean,
You know.
I mean, I guess it's the old adage, jack of all trades, master of none.
Right.
I would like to be jack of all trades, master of all, but
Sure.
I mean, it's probably going to take me more than one lifetime to do that.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I would conservatively argue from the standpoint that if you do it enough, you're going to put yourself in enough lighting positions that it's going to become easier to do anything you want to do.
Yeah. I agree with
So,
that.
so it's yeah,
But I think the trick is just to be in the actual situation and not like watching a video about it. You actually have to be there doing it,
yeah, and
you know?
I think that's the thing too, right? Is that if you put yourself in many different situations all the time,
Yeah.
you know, it's funny because I'll go down to Humber Bay, which I mean, everybody I think in Toronto has shot Humber Bay,
Yeah.
and you know, I'll go down there at night and I'll be shooting, and a photographer will show up for the first time, and I'll be like, oh, just use f11 30 seconds ISO 100.
He's staying right here
and,
with his exes.
and they're like, what the hell, how do you know that?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I've done it a couple times, you
I
know.
know.
So
I know.
it's like that.
Yeah.
I remember back to the college when I went there
Mm.
for the photography. The full-time students, they had to be able to shoot a properly exposed, composed photo
Mhm.
without being able to look through their viewfinder.
Mm.
So
Cool.
they would, so that it basically became, okay, I have to hold it like this. I have to be at 24 mil.
Yeah.
I have to have ISO 100, you know, F whatever,
Mhm.
to get the shot.
Mhm.
And that was their final, like one of their final exams, was to be able to do it without the histogram on the back of the camera,
Yeah.
right?
Cool.
Yeah, like I want to become that good. I want to understand lighting that well, that you know, that any setting that I look at, okay, f this,
Yeah.
ISO 100,
Sure.
and then you know, or ISO 6400,
Yeah.
so that you know, you're not always fiddling with the camera, you're getting the
Sure.
shot right. I mean,
Sure. Yes.
sometimes you show up to a location and like the experience is happening right then,
Yeah.
and if
You
you
have
can't get your camera set up,
well, that's what I
then
mean.
you're gonna
Like,
miss it.
that's what I mean. I think some of the most epic shots in the history of photography have been like instantaneous. Like they happen instantly. Like there's no time to
Yeah,
set up.
yeah,
There's no time to you have to be there ready to pull the trigger. Whatever happens, happens. Like,
yeah. I don't
you
know
know,
how many times I've learned that from experience, because like I shoot a lot of train photography as well.
yeah.
And you know, the night before I might have been shooting like Milky Way or something like that, so
Mhm.
like ISO 6400
Mhm.
f30 or bulb exposure, you know, and you're sitting there and all of a sudden you show up to the train tracks and the train's coming down the
Yeah.
tracks, and you pull out your camera and it's
Yeah.
ISO
It's
6400. Well,
yeah.
there goes your shot.
That's
So
it.
I don't know how many times I've learned that okay, you got to move this, move this, move this, move this.
Yeah.
So you know, that's you know, for the longest time everybody asked me, what camera do you do you think I should buy? And I'm
Yeah.
like, a camera that you feel comfortable with moving around,
Yeah.
that you know where the options are, that you can execute. And whether it be Fuji, whether it be Canon, whether it be Sony, whether it be Nikon. I mean,
Yeah.
for the longest time, I tell you buy anything Canon, but
Mhm.
I mean, you know, I've softened my stance on that because,
Mhm.
you know, as I've looked at different photographers, you know, there's amazing guys out there with Sonys. There's
Yeah.
amazing ladies out there with, you know, Panasonic. So, I mean, I think that it's becoming a more equal playing field
Yeah.
in terms of camera equipment.
Mhm.
So it's like, yeah, if you go to a store, I mean, just ask a bunch of questions, educate yourself, and then go to the store and
Yeah.
say, I want this, I want that. You know,
Yeah, yeah. No, it's yeah, exactly. I mean, like the gear thing never ends. It just keeps building and building. Like the farther you go, like there's always something that you're gonna want to buy. Like there's always gonna
yeah,
be something. It's like, oh, if I had that, I would have got
it,
this, or if I bought
yeah,
this, I would have got that. It's like, well,
yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Gear envy will never go away.
No,
You
no.
know,
Yeah.
I've got a buddy out in Ottawa that's a Canon tester. So anything new that comes out for Canon, they ship him
Yeah.
and say, go test this.
Nice.
And, he will show up to an air show together. And I've got my 70 to 300 or my 400 mil lens. He'll show up with like the 800 mil lens, So, I mean, it's like, yeah, I want that. Or, I'll go, I took a whole year and dedicated it just birding. I just wanted to shoot as many birds as I could in my region, like in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
So I chased them all over the place, and I showed up in Oshawa this one morning, and there's this lady.
Yeah.
It was a glossy ibis. If you want to Google it later, Google it later. But
Glossy
it's a glossy
ibis?
Yeah. So this thing has a huge beak on it. It's really interesting bird. Anyways, I figured, okay, I'll go see what this is all about. So Oshawa is about a 45-minute hour drive out. So I get out there, and the bird's probably a half hour, half kilometer from where I'm standing, and it's private property, so we can't get on it. So a 300 mil lens is going to do absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
But there's this lady there, and she's got this was a while ago. So she's got a Canon 7D Mark II, which is a crop sensor.
Mm-hmm.
She's got 800 mil lens, and she's got a 2-time multiplier.
Mm-hmm.
So the reach on that was 1920. I think we did the math, and 1920 mil lens,
nice,
compared to my 300 mil lens. So I'm standing there for a bit, and then she says to me, "Do you want to try it?"
Thought you never ask.
I'm like, really? You're like asking a kid in a candy store if he wants licorice.
Basically.
It's like, so I said, yeah. She said, well, just put your body on my camera, on my lens. And I'm like, oh, dude, I didn't want to give the camera back. So you fire off these things, and all of a sudden, like I'm telling you, 300 mil to 1920, and all of a sudden the thing's sitting in my lap. But so I fired off a couple shots, and it was awesome. It was an awesome experience. But yeah, gear envy will always be there. But I think two things that stop me are my bank account and my wife. So not in that order, maybe.
Very good. You should have tried to use your barter system there too, man.
Yeah.
See, I got some baseball cards in the bag. You want some baseball cards?
I think that lens would have took my whole collection.
Yeah, that's when you got to use your barter skills, man. You never know.
It might work out for me, but I doubt it. But maybe I should try it next time, Paul.
Next time, just for fun. Just say, hey, look, I like your lens. I got some baseball cards here. We'll do a switch.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens. Maybe you're gonna start a whole trend in Toronto, man. Barter, gear bartering, and you become like the face of it or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. It's not happening anytime soon.
No,
I mean, this is a face for radio, obviously.
Great story though, man. Wow, cool, super cool.
Yeah,
super cool story. So, like that stuff. Yeah, with the gear stuff, it's like just my thing is like just get out there and like do like we were just saying,
out there
like,
and shoot.
essentially, but I mean, like the playing field is so level. Like to
Yeah.
me, it's like, well, to me, it's like, what can you do now? Like, where's your talent? Like, where do
Yeah.
you, like, how's your eye? How do you see things? And
And,
to me,
and
that's
I
what separates people, you know?
and I think that's the thing. I think you hit the nail on the head, is that the tools are all the same now,
Yeah.
equivalent. Even starter kits. You pick up an entry level DSLR, and it's like, or mirrorless, now that we're in the mirrorless era,
Yeah.
and you can go out and you can create some really great shots. And I think that's like we talked about the 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 just everybody saturating everything. But I think the one thing that it does do, it's instant, right? We used to shoot camera film, and
Hmm.
we'd wait 2 or 3 days to get the film back
Yeah.
and realize, oh crap, I overexposed everything, so I got to go back out and shoot it. Whereas
Mhm.
with the digital, you shoot it, oh
Yeah.
no, that's overexposed, I got to do
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, even if you do overexpose everything, or God forbid you shoot everything in JPEG, you can still manipulate it after the fact.
Yeah.
Whereas you were very limited. You could still manipulate photography in the film era,
Yeah.
but not as much
Yeah.
as we do now.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
and not as easily.
No.
So, but
No. Yeah, no, it's a good point. I mean, should people learn film, you think, if they actually want to be like a true
oh, that's a
photographer?
very
Like, should they actually learn it? At least learn it, like understand what it is?
I, I I I think to appreciate photography,
Yeah.
it's a good. I mean, it's a great thing to do, but I don't think anybody has the time or patience anymore.
Well, that's what I mean. But I mean,
We live in a microwave society. Like
yeah.
5-10 years ago, we used to sit in front of a convection oven for
Yeah.
like 8 hours waiting for the turkey to cook,
Yeah.
saying, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Yeah.
And then the microwave came along, and we stand in front of the microwave for 2 minutes waiting for popcorn to
Mm.
pop. And it's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Like, everybody wants it now. They don't
Yeah.
want it like,
Well, but do
you
you
know,
think that's hurting? Do you think that's hurting the craft, or
well,
people just want it now? You know?
I think the problem is that it's just a rush for now, 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 now,
Yeah,
you
but I
know.
think yeah, but like
But
my thing is like you're kind of missing the art.
yeah,
That's my take on it. You know?
and that's what I'm saying. Like, by slowing down and maybe looking at things from different angles, it's such, it's funny because, quite honestly, the shot behind me, the
Yeah.
deer,
Yeah.
the funny part about it is I took the shot of the deer and didn't even realize until I got home and opened it up on the computer that the baby was right behind.
Mm.
Like, so it wasn't intentional that I caught the baby in behind. It was just the fact that I was so focused on the deer, I happened to catch the baby in the
Mm.
back. Um, Not that I'm not happy with it. I was
Great
happy
shot.
enough.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
I think I
So
think I think the baby makes the shot.
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And it's crazy. And then we joke all the time when we go to shoot sunrise, especially alignments. You shoot 1,500, 2,000 shots, whatever you shoot, and
Mhm.
then you use one. You
Mm.
know, it's like, okay, well, really, did I need to shoot all those? But
I can. That's why I did it.
yeah, exactly.
I
You
can. I
know,
can. So I'm doing it.
because 4 years from now, you can go in the archives and post the same shot, and nobody will know the difference.
Yeah. No, it's I don't know. I just I mean, I have friends that shoot film, and like there's always like both worlds. So I always wonder like being in this did digital space, like is it hurting the actual craft of photography where people are missing the actual like craft of it.
I and I've had this conversation. I'll probably be burnt at the cross for it, but
Yeah.
I think Photoshop and Lightroom have
Yeah.
probably uh, dampen the art more than anything else. Now, I understand the argument that it opens up all avenues and doors to creativity,
Yeah.
but I think the thing that's lost there is the actual image.
Mm.
You know, people always ask me about that, and I say, what's the difference? What's the difference between Ansel Adams? They ask me
Yeah.
all the time, what's the difference between Ansel Adams doing it in a black room and me doing it in a light room? So, and the thing is that when he shot, he composed his shot properly. That was just him fooling around with manipulation.
Yeah.
And it took, yeah, there you go. But the skill set that guy had, like, that's one guy I will never be ashamed to say, inspires me,
Yeah.
because he just he embodies photography.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's to me, this is, it's raw. It's here you go. But so many people want to push the envelope with AI and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, but then at what point does the image become the computer's and not yours?
Well, that's the
Right?
argument that's going to be
Forever, forever.
forever. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
is that real, or is that, so
Is it AI? Yeah.
yeah, and I don't I think the line's going to get even blurrier as we move along, right? Because they're only showing us what
Oh
they
yeah.
want us to know. We
Yeah.
don't even know what's behind the curtain. So,
The thing is that, I remember when I bought the Canon 5D, I learned that there was HDR in camera,
yeah,
and I thought, well, how lazy is that? Like, you're not even taking the three shots to manipulate them. You're
yeah,
taking the three shots so that the computer can spit out something and give it
yeah,
to you.
yeah.
So it's like,
Tisk
yeah,
tisk.
and the line is where, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I don't think there's any line anymore. I think it's
No.
just gonna be we're all gonna be running from the Terminator in 2 years. Arnold's gonna be running on the street.
If we're not
I told
already.
you so. I
Eh,
told you so.
yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah, yeah. I'll be back.
But
Let me just take my shot first.
yep. So,
Do you know
but
what Walt?
yeah.
Do you know Walt? CJ loves bazooka mode.
Oh, Walt. Yeah, Walter's a good friend of mine. Good aviation photography.
Nice.
We used to shoot a lot of aviation at Airport Road,
Oh yeah.
and my thing was it was digital, so I just sit there and shoot
Yeah.
off like 5,000 shots on one plane taking off.
Spray and pray, right? Don't. Oh, do we lose you again, CJ? Please come back, CJ. I'm gonna show CJ's shot here. Nice shot. Let's see. Hopefully his laptop didn't overheat again. Hi, Walt. You want to come on while we wait for CJ? Great shot of the plane, though. I like that. Like that stuff. Let's see where he is. No, it's okay. It's okay. Next time, Walt. We shall see where CJ is right now. Laptop again. 2 seconds, guys. What's your IG, Walt? That's cool, Walt. Are you in Toronto, Walt? Oh, Walter 14. Okay, let's look you up. Oh, Walter 14. Okay, it's
Uh,
hey, laptop again?
Stupid laptop.
I'm just speaking with your buddy Walt.
Yeah. He's a great guy. I mean, he's.
You should come on. I told him to come on.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Yeah. But he might be a little camera shy, but.
maybe. All right.
But yeah, no, we met up at the airport, and we used to shoot together all the time. So he's a good friend. But yeah,
Thanks, CJ.
he's yeah, but he's he goes up to Algonquin every once in a while, shoots up
Nah.
there, and yeah.
For the fall stuff, you think, or all
Typically
year
the fall stuff, but he goes 2 or 3 times a year,
Nice.
with another buddy of us,
Nice.
ours. But I'm probably too busy usually most of the time at the trailer.
Right,
But
right. Yeah.
but he heads up there. But yeah, it's great stuff. But
Lots of fun, eh? Winter too, he
Yeah.
says.
yep. So he goes up and he's like I said, he probably goes 2 or 3 times a year. So
Love it.
but
Shout out Walt. Shout out Walt.
yep. So
Cool, man. Do you have like a bucket shot that you want to get it in your head?
there's several, but I mean, I haven't really traveled out west too much, like Canada.
Mhm.
I've gone as far east as I can go, Newfoundland and stuff. But get out, I want to get out, get in the Rockies,
Beautiful.
do that sort of stuff. And then always a dream is a buddy of mine that I used to work with, straight out of college. He did photography in school, and then he took off right after school. He approached a bunch of travel agencies and said, listen, if I go shoot for you, will you pay my ticket to go? So he went on an Antarctic excursion.
Oh, Antarctic?
Yeah, like I'm telling you everything.
I was thinking like Rome and Paris, but no, we're going to Antarctica.
No. So he had touched Antarctica, then he did South Africa, he did Asia, he did Russia, like, and all of this stuff was free except for obviously his time and talent, but they covered the cost of all this. And I was like, really? And he's like showing me photos that he took, and I'm like, this back in the film age. And cool. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, damn, guy, like, why didn't I do that? Get somebody else to pay for my photography.
Sometimes you just have to ask, because you never know. You never know sometimes.
I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So he he actually, one of his profs at school said to him, just go ask. And he went and asked, and they said, yeah, sure. I think he approached 3 or 4 different ones, and the one was gangbusters on him. And
we need photos. We need photos.
Yeah, to like sell to tourists, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you can get this shot too if you buy a $5,000 camera and spend $15,000 on our ship.
Yeah, basically, right? Oh my God.
Yeah, so he did some pretty amazing stuff, but yeah, it's stuff like that. I've wanted. I love stained glass, so I've always wanted to go to London, England, shoot over there, like some of the cathedrals and stuff. And then I want to do a polar bear excursion up in Churchill.
Okay.
So so yeah, I have a couple things on
Ah,
the,
it's epic adventures, man.
yeah. So, and I think that's the thing for me. Uh, that's the way you differentiate yourself is you go to the ends of the earth, and it's like, okay, not so many people have been here, so it's not going to be as oversaturated as, oh, let me take a shot of
Yeah.
the CN Tower. So,
If you can make
but
it cool, you're pretty talented.
oh, dude, and I've seen some great stuff. I
You
mean,
know?
it's I think
Yeah.
that's the thing is once you've shot it, you start looking at it. Okay, where can I shoot it from next
Yeah.
and make it look cooler?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's sometimes up near the airport,
Right.
just trying to align the plane with the CN Tower
Right.
and the skyline.
Exactly. Stuff like that.
So yeah, it's basic stuff, but I mean, it differentiates yourself. So, but
Yeah, no, exactly.
it's
I'm
good.
always trying to think. I'm always thinking like, how am I gonna make this shot different from everyone else's, right?
Yeah,
So I was at this meetup like 2 weeks ago. This like fashion meetup, and everyone's got their model doing their thing. I'm like, how am I gonna make this different? So I just shot in black and white. So
was that with Laura?
yeah, Laura, yeah,
Yeah. She's a great
yeah,
model.
yeah,
I funny story about Laura. When she first started out, I did a photo shoot with her,
yeah.
and down at Humber College. So
Oh,
it's like it's amazing to
wow,
see where she started out and where she
small
is
world, man.
now,
Small world,
because
man.
she's huge.
Small world,
Um,
man.
yeah, but she's a great model.
Yeah,
But
lots of fun.
yeah, and this community, that's like I was saying to you just before we started. It's funny because you'll run into people and you're like, oh, I'm already following you, and it's like, yeah, okay, we
Happens
know
all the
each other,
time. Yeah.
we know each other, but we don't know
You
each other.
exist. You exist. You're
So
real
yeah,
life.
so that's the other thing I find really cool about the meetups
Yeah.
is not necessarily the shots we get, because like I said, I think that everybody at this stage can get the shot they want.
Yeah.
But what's cool for me is just meeting those people that I haven't met in
Yeah.
person before,
Exactly. So
so
important. So important to meet people in real life.
yeah. So
Totally different
it's,
vibe.
oh, it is. And I mean, you get to understand their way of shooting things, and
Yeah.
what they do, and what they're most
Yeah.
appreciative of.
Exactly. You never know.
So
You never know what they're gonna say, man. To me, it's like you
yeah.
never know what they're gonna say. It could be the smallest piece of advice, but
Yeah.
that may change your whole line of thinking sometimes.
And you get to learn from each other, right? So
Yeah.
it's
I just
it's really great. But
exactly, man. Love it. Well, we're up against the hour, so don't want to take up too much of your evening, but just want to say thanks again for coming on and jumping on this thing.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Any final advice for people out there that you want to shout out?
Uh, I remember a guy once saying, "Get out and shoot."
Yeah, I think that was me.
But that's it. That's it, right? Like,
That's
I
it. So
mean,
simple, right?
just get out and do what you enjoy. Like,
Yeah.
regardless. Like I said before, I think I'm learning more lately about doing what you enjoy and not for the likes, the views, the followers. Although you should be following Open Shutter because it's awesome.
100%.
But
I didn't say it. CJ said it.
but yeah, no, it's I think that's the one thing, and I think to genuinely support everybody that
Yeah.
because I mean there are people out there that unfortunately or fortunately want that validation,
Hmm.
and really by you clicking a mouse, it's not hurting you any. It's not going to hurt
Yeah.
you any,
Yeah. Click that one.
because it's yeah, just support people.
Yeah.
I started a while back. I did the support 10 photographers and tagging 10 photographers,
Yeah.
and trying not to tag you know the guys with like 20 or 30,000 followers
Right.
already.
Right.
The smaller, the
Yeah.
more unknown guys, because
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because I think
Exactly.
that, and I appreciate this platform because, it sort of shines the light on some of those people.
Exactly.
And you never know where the next Ansel Adams will come from, right? So,
Yeah, to
but
me, it's like there's always a person behind the account.
of
Like there's
course,
a person behind the account. I think
yeah,
sometimes we lose sight of that, where we just look at likes and comments, but there's an actual
yeah,
person behind the
yeah.
Instagram account.
Like that's the other thing. I
Yeah.
wanna know more of why they shot that shot,
Right. Yeah.
rather than, okay, it's a good shot, but
Yeah.
why'd you take that shot?
Yeah.
What's the story behind that shot? And I find that's the really great part, is that, if you look like, you could pop up any one of those photos on my Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a story behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because my wife will always ask me, how do you remember that?
You were
And
there.
I said it's more about the experience, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
you remember it. But anyways, Paul, I won't keep
I
you
love
much
it. CJ,
longer.
you should have you back on at some other point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll
Love
hook up
love
and
to
we'll
have you
talk.
back on. Love
Okay,
it.
man.
Thanks
We'll
everyone for
we'll
watching,
chat.
listening. Go check out CJ. Link is in the description of this video, and go check him out. And we'll see you next time for another guest. Peace.